No one noticed the dog at first. Not really. He was just another K9 unit on a hospital shift, walking beside his handler like clockwork. But when Max, a seasoned German shepherd with a reputation for being calm and obedient, suddenly stopped cold outside room 207 and began barking deep, guttural, unrelenting barks, it sent shivers down everyone's spine. Nurses froze. Patients stirred. And what was inside that room would haunt them forever. Officer Danielle Ross had been on the force for 8 years, and with her partner Max for 5. The two were inseparable. Danielle called him her shadow. Max wasn't just a police dog, he was a survivor, having been rescued from a shelter after a failed adoption. He had trust issues at first, but with time and love, he blossomed into one of the best K9s the precinct had ever seen. Danielle and Max were visiting Memorial Ridge Hospital for a scheduled patrol. Standard protocol to check exits, assist with security during patient transfers, and provide comfort to kids in the pediatric wing. Max, with his friendly demeanor, had become a favorite among the children. But everything changed that Tuesday afternoon. They were just finishing their rounds when Max suddenly pulled hard on the leash near the east wing. Room 207. His ears perked, his body tensed. Then, the barking began. Loud. Persistent. Almost frantic. Danielle tried to calm him. Max, what is it? Easy, boy. But he wouldn't stop. Hospital staff approached, curious and slightly alarmed. One nurse, Carol, went pale. That room, it's supposed to be empty. We've had it blocked off since last week for renovations, she whispered. But the barking only grew louder. More aggressive. Something was wrong. Danielle's instincts kicked in. She radioed the front desk. I need a key to 207 immediately. Possible security breach. Moments later, with a trembling hand, Carol slid the master key into the lock. The door creaked open. What they found inside was something out of a nightmare. The room was dimly lit, the blinds drawn, and the air was thick like it hadn't been circulated in days. But that wasn't what made Danielle's stomach twist. In the far corner of the room, a young boy no older than 10 sat on the floor, curled into a ball. His face was pale, his eyes wide with fear. He was wrapped in what looked like a dirty hospital sheet, and his wrists had faint marks like he'd been restrained. Max immediately softened, whining as he stepped closer, tail down, ears lowered, sensing the child's fear. Danielle rushed to the boy. Hey, sweetie. It's okay. You're safe now. What's your name? He didn't speak. He just stared at her with haunted eyes. They called an emergency response. The boy was rushed to pediatric care. For hours, no one could get a word out of him. No missing child reports matched his description. No one had seen anyone enter or leave 207 for over a week. Who was he? How did he get there? And who was responsible? Detectives and hospital security began an intensive investigation. CCTV footage showed nothing unusual, no one had entered room 207 in days. But hidden in a blind spot near the stairwell, grainy footage showed a man in a janitor's uniform leading a small figure late at night, just once. The janitor, Mark Denson, had worked there for years without incident. But when police went to question him, they found his locker empty and his apartment abandoned. Back in the hospital, the boy began to open up. His name was Tyler. He was 9. He didn't know where his parents were. All he remembered was Uncle Mark picking him up from the park and saying he had a new home for him. What followed was every parent's worst nightmare. Tyler had been kept hidden in room 207 for over 6 days. He had been fed scraps. Denied sunlight. Left alone for hours. But somehow, he survived. and Max. Loyal, intuitive Max had found him when no one else could. Tyler's recovery wasn't easy. Nightmares plagued him. He had trouble trusting people, especially men. But Danielle visited often, sometimes with Max, sometimes without. Slowly, Tyler began to smile again. The first time he hugged Max, Danielle cried. Max had challenges, too. He became overprotective, anxious on patrols. It was as if Tyler's trauma had transferred to him in some invisible bond. But they healed together. Danielle advocated for Tyler's foster placement, eventually offering to foster him herself. It wasn't immediate. There were evaluations, tests, long discussions with child services. But the bond between Tyler, Danielle, and Max was undeniable. And in the end, love triumphed. Months later, Mark Denson was found in a motel 2 states over. He was arrested, tried, and convicted of multiple crimes, including child abduction and endangerment. Room 207 was renovated and turned into a therapy suite for traumatized children. On the wall hangs a framed photo of Max and Tyler with the words, "One bark saved a life. One dog saw what no one else did." Tyler is now thriving, enrolled in school, receiving therapy, and dreaming of becoming a K-9 officer, just like Danielle. Just like Max. This story isn't just about a dog or a crime. It's about instincts. About courage. About the invisible bond between a K-9 and the people they protect. Max didn't just follow a scent that day, he followed his heart. We often overlook the silent heroes, the ones with fur, wagging tails, and eyes full of wisdom. Max reminded us that heroes come in all shapes and species. If this story moved you, inspired you, or opened your eyes to the powerful role animals play in our lives, please like, share, and subscribe to Positive Tales. We share real stories that celebrate the strength, bravery, and love of the animals who walk beside us. Even in our darkest moments. And remember, sometimes, all it takes to change a life is a bark.